Hey guys, welcome back to Game Galaxy, and I just wanted to do a quick overview of the new RETROFLAG Super Nintendo style cases for the Raspberry Pi. Now there's been a lot of Raspberry Pi cases on the market lately, so some of you who are fans of the Raspberry Pi and RetroPie might be all cased out at this point. I know I have very many. And there's been a little bit of a flooding of the market, as it would seem, of Nintendo style ones, specifically Super Nintendo ones. But here you have the Japanese / European style of the Super Famicom Super Nintendo, and this is the ugly North American design, although it's grown on me as time goes on. But I was always more a fan of the European and Super Famicom design here. But as I pull these up here, these are gorgeous. Each of these have two front-facing USB ports, which is absolutely awesome. This is a compartment that you would pull out if you wanted access to two more USB ports and your Ethernet port. Now, this is the RetroFlag compared to the Super Kintaro one, and I'm going to talk about what I like and what I don't like between them. I personally like the look and design of the Kintaro one better, because if you look, the text is white here, and if you look at an actual picture of a Super Nintendo from Europe, it's going to have that white text there. Also, they have the Super Kintaro logo here in the font of Super Nintendo. On the RetroFlag, you don't really have that font, and there is text here, but it's completely same gray here. It's not, you can't even see it. It's not that white text. So they don't have that. And plus, I don't like this RetroFlag logo there. And I know everybody else feels the same way on the internet. But one cool feature that the RetroFlag has is that you can actually push the eject button here, and this little slot opens, and you can use this to store additional SD cards, I guess, if you wanted. There's not really space for anything other than SD cards, but that's really cool if you've got multiple different setups for your Raspberry Pis. You just click that button, and it pops open. Even if you don't use it for anything, super fun to just play with. Really nice touch. On the underneath, they got some really nice, just, you know, information here. Superfied, yeah, really great. Exhaust there, and exhaust here. Little rubber feet, and as I mentioned, your card will go in right here on the side. And easy access to just pull out. And it's kind of hidden from above, which is great. But so I had a real big dilemma when I first got these. I was like, I really like the look of this one better. It's a little smaller if you put these head to head. It's just a teensy bit smaller, and that's because this one needs extra space for the additional board to extend the USBs out the front. I have decided to go with the RetroFlag case, and I guess this answers the question of, are these the best cases? And I am going to go ahead and say, after my testing, yeah, if you're in need of a case, I would go with the RetroFlag, even though in this case, I think the design of Kintaro looks better. But here's the thing, both of these have safe start shutdown scripts that you can install on them, so you can use the slider buttons. I don't know if it's just my card for this one, and maybe I did something wrong, but every now and then on the Kintaro, when I go to turn it on, it won't work, and I'll have to kind of pull the power jack out and plug it back in, and then it'll work fine. I have yet to have the issue on a RetroFlag case. Every time I plug in the power, and use the switch, it turns on and turns off. Another thing I don't like about the Kintaro cases, both this one and the other Super Nintendo one, is that if you have it switched off and you plug in your power supply, the Pi still boots up, but the script catches it that the switch is off, and then it turns the Pi off. It's kind of like a weird system fail-safe thing that doesn't really work in my mind. It's kind of annoying that your Pi turns on and then says, oh wait, I'm not supposed to be on, and then turns off. On the RetroFlag, if I plug in the power, it doesn't turn on. So this has a better control of the power in its PCB than this one, and I would just really urge Kintaro, I love your designs, but I really would urge you guys to figure that out so that if it's in the off position, when the Pi is powered, it isn't powered yet if it's not supposed to be. And also, I would urge, I know it makes their form factors much smaller, not having the additional board front-facing ports, but because I use a lot of USB things, I have come to enjoy front-facing ports, and I would urge Kintaro to do the same. But moving on, just get a good close-up look of the Super Nintendo style one. This one's kind of more boring. I don't have a Pi in here yet, so I can kind of open this for you and show you what you're going to get inside. It comes with you know, rubber feet and some screws in there with you. Here is that PCB board. These are the two USBs that will plug into your Raspberry Pi board. To properly use the shutdown scripts, you got to make sure this safe shutdown is set to on the right. On the different case, the European style, this might be in a different place. I believe it's up here on the board, so just pay attention to that. But another thing I like about these boards versus the Kintaro ones is that there's actually a power control thing here. When you plug in the power supply, you're plugging into this board, which is connected to this PCB, which when you flip the switch, it accepts power from that. So unlike the Kintaro ones, when you plug into a Kintaro one, you're actually plugging into the Raspberry Pi itself, which is why it boots up and then the script catches it and pulls it down. So you just want to get your Pi in there to lay flush with these back holes is the best way to make it work here. And then you would go ahead and take this here, and you want to put these on the furthest to the right GPIO pins. The red wire should be the furthest to the right. So you want to put those on there and push down on them. Personally, before I did this, I would screw in my, I'm going to take it off now. I would take the time and screw your case to your board.
So first step to get this in here is to make sure to plug in our USB extensions into the USB ports that are all the way to the right on the board, because we want to leave those other two USB ports open for the side panel that's going to be revealed if you want extra controllers. Next, just line up the Pi in the case there, and then plug in the cords into the GPIO pins all the way to the right with the red wire on the furthest to the right. I'm just going to go ahead and screw your board securely to the Pi. Make sure not to over tighten, but then you're going to push this case on here. Now here's the thing, the wires that you plug into the GPIO pins are going to kind of fight you in getting this case closed, so just be gentle and slowly try to push it together and try to fight against that. And I like to do this and put this together without the side panel on, because sometimes it's a little harder to get it lined up. But you can see the case is fighting me right here, and the side pops out. But you know, just keep at it. I'm trying to get this in there and keep it shut. So now, as it's trying to reopen because of the those cords that I said, I'm going to very carefully, while holding it together, just screw in the screws. And then after I get all 4 screws, I'm going to pop in the rubber feet. Make sure everything works before you put these rubber feet on, because 2 of these rubber feet actually will seal up the holes for the screws of the case. So that'd be a real pain in the butt if you did something wrong, or you needed to get inside, or you wanted to add a fan later. Yeah, don't, these ones right here, don't cover them up if you need to get back inside, because otherwise you're going to do that. Then rip off the plastic so you actually expose the rubber. And there you go. So you can see here, these are the RETROFLAG versus the Kintaro one. I really liked the Kintaro one originally, and I really liked the design, but as I turn it here, you can see it has all those exposed ports, those USB ports, and it's just not as sleek as the other ones. But, you know, nice, cute little form factor. Works pretty nice. But then, when you look at the RETROFLAG, man, it's so nice to have those front-facing USB ports, and as I turn it around here, it's just sleek all the way through. Got your ports on the back, very professional look. And take a look at that micro SD, excuse me, on the side. It was just flush. The eject button is super fun. Like I said, you store extra SD cards in there. And here is both of the Super Nintendo American design and the European design. And the cool thing is it comes with these controllers that you see here, these RETROFLAG controllers. And these things are just absolutely awesome. I swear they are just as good and feel just like the 8-bit DOE Bluetooth controllers in terms of quality. I'm convinced they went through the same manufacturer of them, but these have been some of the best controllers. And You know, I still like the iBuffalo that I always talk, and I still like it a little more sometimes, because when I'm playing an action game, sometimes this D-pad here is just a little rough on the edges and can sometimes just wear down your thumb after a long time of playing. And so sometimes, you know, that can be an issue. But overall, the controller is pretty damn impressive. So take a look at the North American Super Nintendo controller style. It has these convex, concave button differences that was present on the North American Super Nintendo controllers. So if you're a fan of the North American Super Nintendo style, this is extremely exciting for you that it has that little nuances between the buttons. And as I mentioned, both of these controllers are absolutely wonderful, rivaling quality of the 8BitDo controllers, and I highly recommend them. If you want a second one for your console, RetroFlag does sell these individually. And just really great high quality controllers. They've kind of become my main use now of controllers. I still will use the iBuffalo from time to time, but these controllers are what is in my main setup now. So again, these are the RetroFlag cases, highly recommended currently as the you know, a great Super Nintendo style case. And I'm going to be sending this one to my friend Joey B/3 very shortly. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.